Another week, another extra point, which starts right now. Welcome back to The Extra Point. I'm your host, Kate Woynerowski, and with me tonight, I have Nick McElveen and John West. All right, everyone, we're going to get started tonight with some college football. We're going to do some pick-ems. So to start off, we've got pretty much the game of the week. Yes, we have number 8 Arkansas and number 2 Georgia. A noon game? What is this? Guys, what is your pick for this game?
Well, let me tell you, I don't think it's going to be a game of the week. I got the Bulldogs pulling away. I think that this is going to be the difference in the game is going to be that Georgia's defense is just so elite with guys like Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt clogging up the middle and allowing guys like Nakobe Dean at linebacker to fly around. I just think that they have too much talent. I mean, they literally go into their second team and they can still perform at the same level. And so I think maybe early on it might be close because Arkansas does have a good defense. They are a very good team. I just don't know if they have the talent to keep up with Georgia. So I think that JT Daniels, by the second half, he starts making plays and getting it to people like Jermaine Burton. And I think that eventually he'll pull away. Also of note, Tyke Smith, their nickelback, and also Darnell Washington are going to be back this week. They are huge for Georgia. So I look for Georgia to blow out Arkansas.
I'm going to go with Georgia as well. I don't think it'll be a blowout, though, by any means. Arkansas does have a chance to win this game, but Arkansas has to be near flawless to actually do that. But like you said, Georgia does have a really good defense, but offensively, you know, they're not out of this world. You know, they can definitely be stopped. But I think Georgia will definitely come out and pull it out on Saturday at 12.
Yeah, I also think Georgia will come alive on Saturday and beat Arkansas. I think, though, this will be a close game, probably in the first half, and then Georgia will pull away in the second half. I think you really can't beat Georgia at home, so I'm going to go with them. But hopefully that will be a good game. So moving on, we have number 14 Michigan at Wisconsin. Can Graham Mertz and the Wisconsin offense rebound from last weekend's showdown against Notre Dame?
I think it'll be Michigan. I didn't see enough from Wisconsin last week. They lost 41-13. The game was actually closer than we expected it to be. I mean, it looked worse than if you weren't watching the game. It looks a lot worse if you're looking at the score. But I didn't see enough from Wisconsin's offense this week. Last week against Notre Dame. So I definitely think Michigan will come out and win this game.
Michigan. I picked Wisconsin last week, and then I look and I see Graham Mertz, and he just looks lost out there. He doesn't do enough for Wisconsin to beat a team like Michigan. Michigan is a good defensive football team, and they run the football very effectively. So it's not really, after years of watching Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, it's not my faith in Michigan, but it's my lack of faith in Wisconsin and specifically Graham Mertz. I think that Michigan's offense just does just enough to win the game. So it'll be close, but I don't think Wisconsin can make enough plays on offense to win the game. So I got Michigan.
I've got Michigan as well, just because I really don't know that much about Michigan. However, I do know enough about Wisconsin to know that their offense will probably not keep up with Michigan, but we'll see about that on Saturday. Now, moving on, we have number 7 Cincinnati traveling to South Bend to face number 9 Notre Dame. Guys, who do you have for this matchup?
I got Cincinnati in a very close one. I think that, Notre Dame, like I said last week with Wisconsin, which I ended up being wrong about the overall game pick, but I still think what I said about Notre Dame still stands. They have just been squeaking out against the other teams, and that was, like he said, a very close game early on. It didn't take until the fourth quarter until they really pulled away with a bunch of pick sixes and turnovers. And so I think that against a team like Cincinnati that's looking to prove something to the playoff committee later in the year, since they are a group of 5 team and they are highly ranked, I do think that they're in contention for it, but they're going to have to make a statement here. So I think guys like Desmond Ridder with his legs will cause Notre Dame some problems. And with Jack Cohn being a little bit iffy, he got hurt last week. Brian Kelly says he's optimistic to play, but it's not something I could trust because Jack Cohn has been getting hurt all year. So I'm going to take Cincinnati in a very close one on the road.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame. Simply because Notre Dame is at home, and Notre Dame's defense, I think, can contain Desmond Ridder. He is a very good player, and he does offer something with his feet. But I think that Notre Dame being at home and having that advantage with the crowd noise, I think that they're going to pull out this game.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame as well, ? I'm going to go with Notre Dame. But, I mean, it will be interesting to see how their defense could play this weekend, especially after how they played last weekend. They played really well against Wisconsin's offense. However, I don't know how much of that is on them more than Wisconsin. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame, and it'll be interesting to see how long Cohn stays in the game, if he plays, if they put in Drew Pine. I'm curious, but I think it'll be a great game, so I'm excited to watch. All right, moving on. We've got another SEC showdown. We've got number 12, Ole Miss, traveling to number 1, Alabama. Guys, do you think Lane Kiffin can pull off this one?
This is tough. This is very, very tough. But I'm actually going to go with Ole Miss. I'm going to say Ole Miss is going to come in there and beat Alabama.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to say that offense is high-powered. That offense is so high-powered, led by Matt Corral. These are 2 Heisman contenders, but Matt Corral has been off the charts. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss, and I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Give me those Rebels.
I want to pick Ole Miss so badly. But I'm not. I'm going with Alabama. I cannot bet against Nick Saban in a game of this magnitude, especially at home. I think that makes a difference in a team, in a game that the teams are pretty evenly matched, especially when you're talking offenses. They're both very high-powered and both very well coached. Lane Kiffin is one of the best play callers you'll ever see. If you want to watch good offensive play design, you watch Ole Miss this week. But I can't go with them because I think that Alabama can put enough pressure on Ole Miss with Will Anderson and company, and I think that Ole Miss's offensive line, they're good enough, but I don't think that they're elite. And to beat Alabama, you got to be elite at offensive line. So I just can't take them. I got to go with Alabama in a very high-scoring game. I do agree with that.
Wow. We've got a split one here. I think I'm going to have to go with Alabama, too. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm so sorry. But if you win, then you get bragging rights. It's all good. I'm going to go with Alabama on this one as well, only just because I really haven't seen enough of Ole Miss against an elite team like Alabama to tell me that they've got a shot at beating Alabama. So I'm going to go with Alabama. However, I will say, this is a great matchup between these 2 quarterbacks, and I think that whoever wins this game will win the Heisman. I'm just going to go with that. All right, moving on. Final game. We've got number 21 Baylor going to number 19 Oklahoma State. Guys, who do you have for this one?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. And I think it'll be a very close game. But I do think that the fact that Baylor just came off such a big victory where they beat Iowa State in an upset, and it came down to a failed two-point conversion by Iowa State to beat them, I think this is prime lit-down spot. I think that it being on the road also plays into OK State's advantage. And so I'm definitely going to take Oklahoma State. Look for their ability to stop the run to be the primary factor in this game.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma State too, simply because of the fact they're at home this week, and I think it'll just be too much for Baylor to handle. And like he said, they just came off a big game beating Iowa State last week, so I'm going to go with the Cowboys this week.
I also am going to go with Oklahoma State. I think they basically showed that they're a pretty good team last weekend when they beat Kansas State, so I'm going to go with them at home. All right. We're going to go to the word game. So, guys, fill in the blank when I give the statement. So, on Saturday, Clemson lost to NC State, going 2-2. So, guys, Clemson being 2-2 is?
It's not shocking. I'm not shocked. I know I probably should have wrote that down.
It's
but
okay.
yeah, it's not.
It's okay.
It's not shocking because, I mean, if you look at this Clemson offensive line, like, they're young, they're a new group of guys, they're gonna struggle. The defense has been playing good, but the offensively, the play calling hasn't been good. Quarterback play hasn't been good, really that much. So I'm not really shocked that Clemson is 2-2 at this moment, and I hope they can get better at some point because it is better when in college football when Clemson's better. But right now, I'm not shocked that they're 2-2.
I agree. Unsurprising. I mean, you look in every single week, the play calling is just not there. It's just not creative enough. I mean, you look at a quarterback like DJ who has limited starts. He's a very young guy. You really need to you need to have a couple of plays that work. And you need to play fast because he doesn't need to be thinking too much. He needs to be reacting. When I look at him in the pocket, he does some great things. He has a great base. His technique is flawless. But because he has to think, because we're running so many different play calls that he's not used to it, and definitely not used to running at this speed, you just have to play fast because it keeps the game simple for young guys like him. And then I look at the offensive line, like he said, they just are not good. I'm sorry, but they're not. And some of these guys are experienced, like Jordan McFadden and Backhorst. They were here last year, and still they continue to be thrown around against inferior talent, against SC State. I said it. They dominated us at the line of scrimmage, and we were just running through tackles. So this doesn't surprise me at all.
All right, then. Well, there you have it. Let's move on to some baseball. Yes, we have not talked about baseball this year, but we're going to start with the St. Louis Cardinals. In August, they had a 1.3% chance of making it into the playoffs. Last night, they clinched an NL wildcard spot after winning their 17th game in a row. Guys, the St. Louis Cardinals' 17-game win streak is?
I'm going to say crazy. I don't know too much about baseball, not the biggest fan of it, but just the fact that I know that, the season is so long and they got to play so many back-to-backs. It's just really difficult to win for that long. The sustainability of that is just insane. And, I look at it and it's 14th highest in MLB history. Like, that's insane to me. I just think it's pretty crazy.
I'm going to go with impressive. And like you said, I'm not a big baseball guy either, but anytime you can go on a 17-game winning streak in a professional level sport, I'm hats off to you because I know baseball is a hard sport. For people to win 17 games in a row, you have to truly be locked in order to make that happen. So hats off to the St. Louis Cardinals and keep going.
I think it's awesome. I love to see winning streaks like this, especially when they had something at stake, which was the playoffs. So I think it's incredible. I think it's very reminiscent of the 2019 Washington Nationals, how they had a very small chance of making into the playoffs in July, and they made it. So I think it's pretty cool. So, all right, moving on, we'll talk more about baseball in the next couple weeks when the playoffs begin. But moving on to the NFL. Yes, our final statement. The most surprising NFL 3-0 team is...
I was choosing between Carolina and Denver, but I'm going to go with Denver, the Broncos, because I don't think anybody really expected them to come out and start the season 3-0. Like, this is very surprising. I mean, I'm not saying the team's not good, but, I mean, they have talent around, to make it happen. But I'm shocked at what they've done. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Denver.
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Ooh, okay.
I look at the Broncos, and they have been impressive. But when I look at their opponents, none of them have elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're right.
And none of them have elite offenses in general because their offensive lines all struggle. I look at Daniel Jones and the Giants. I look at the Jags with Trevor, which, as a Clemson fan, we love Trevor, but, he's young. He's really struggling right now to see the coverages, and he keeps on throwing interceptions. And then you got the Jets with Zach Wilson. He's doing the same things, trying to play hero ball. I look at that, and I look at the Raiders. It was really surprising to me that they beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football in a huge upset. And then they go on the road and beat the Steelers, which I think that, they have an elite defense, and Derek Carr looked great. The game against Miami, it was a struggle, but they still found a way to win. So the fact that they're 3-0 is, to me, the biggest surprise of the NFL season.
I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna switch my stance. I'm gonna say the Raiders too, actually now.
Okay.
I didn't really think hard enough, but I'm definitely gonna say the Raiders because they have shown, unlike some of these 3-0 teams, they have shown that they can hang with a contender type team. And Miami's not a bad football team. Pittsburgh, that's my squad. We're kind of struggling right now. We're kind of bad, but like you said, the Ravens are not a bad team. So they've shown that they can play with the best of them. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders too now. So yeah.
I'd also say the Raiders, but I'll change my pick a little bit just to make it a little different. I'll say the Panthers. I honestly was very low on Sam Darnold. I apologize on that. And I will tell you, he makes a difference on the offense. But let me tell you, that defense looks so good. I am shocked. I really did not expect that. So
and they have Joe Brady as an offensive coordinator. That helps a lot.
Well, I was just going to say, were we really surprised, I guess? But,
yeah.
It's good to see Sam Darnold be a success story, finally. He's been waiting for that, and he's getting it. So it makes me happy to see him thrive.
If Adam Gase gets another job as an O coordinator or as a head coach, the system is rigged.
You're not lying.
All right, let's move on to some NFL pick'ems now. We're going to start with my team, Washington, as they go to Atlanta. So, in the battle of the 1 and 2 teams, who do we have?
I got the Washington football team. I look at the Falcons. They finally got a win against the Giants, but, like I said last week, those squads aren't impressive. The Falcons, they're just not a good football team. You look at them, again, Matt Ryan has continued to struggle. Their offensive line has real issues. And so when I look at a team like Washington that can pressure the quarterback with guys like Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, who was a top 2 pick, and you look at, Montez Sweat, he was a steal for the Washington football team. So I think that Washington does just enough with Heineke, and they win the football game.
I'm going to go with the football team as well. But one thing needs to be said, that the defense was expected to be much better than it is right now coming into the season. And they gave up 43 points last week, and that cannot happen. So I'll look for Washington to get back on track this week against Atlanta and pull out the W.
I agree. I'm going to go Washington as well. I think our defense has most certainly been disappointing. However, I will say, Taylor Heineke, I love it. I love him, man.
Oh,
all right.
Such a surprising pick.
If I weren't a Washington fan, I would still go with them, okay? I don't believe in Atlanta at all right? All right, I'm gonna move on. All right, we're going to go to another matchup. We're going to go with the Lions at the Bears. Guys, who do you have for this matchup?
This is tough. This is very tough. I'm going to actually say Detroit gets their first win of the season because offensively, I haven't seen anything, and that has a lot to do with Matt Nagy and that offensive staff over there. Like last week, they almost got Justin Fields killed out there. Like he got sacked like 7 times. It was crazy. So I'm gonna say the Lions are gonna get their first win, and the Lions actually have been a hungry team. You know, they played Baltimore real close last week, and you know it's a team that is building on something with Dan Campbell at the helm now. So I'm gonna go with the Lions this week to get their first win.
I'm gonna go with the Bears. You know, Matt Nagy, he's taken some criticism, but I don't think he's as bad as people think. I just think that they haven't really surrounded that team with good offensive line play, and it really did make Justin Fields struggle. I mean, he went 6 of 20 for 68 yards. He was getting hit left and right, and you would think that would change my pick to the Lions, but I think that they rely on the running game and their defense at home. I think that they're going to get David Montgomery going, and I think that they will do just enough to win the game, and I think they'll win maybe by a field goal. I got the Bears.
I've got the Lions. I'm going with Nick. Yeah.
The fighting Dan Campbells.
I am going to go with the Lions. I mean, they almost had it against the Ravens last week. Definitely heartbreaking for them, but I guess they weren't surprised if you heard from most of them. But I'm going to go with the Lions to pull this off. I don't have much faith in that Bears offensive line, and I don't know how Justin Fields is still walking around, you know?
They need to do more with him. They gave the Browns much more of an advantage last week simply because of the fact they didn't use his mobility. He can roll them out, you know, especially if your offensive line is struggling against a defensive line that has Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on one end. Like, you have to, you know, be creative and kind of help out your offensive line while helping him out. Do some things that he's used to, you know, some stuff he done at Ohio State. Don't just sit him back in the pocket for him to get killed all game.
That was a tough game for him to get his first start against. I said it last week. Like, to go against the Browns, who got one of the best pass rushers in the league, and Jadeveon Clowney, who was a number 1 pick and still has tons of talent and tons of years left on his body, it was just tough. But, man, let's just hope that the Lions don't follow Dan Campbell's advice and start eating kneecaps.
Oh, man, that will be an interesting game. All right. We're going to move on to a much better game. We're going to go to the Panthers at the Cowboys. Guys, who do you have for this one?
As a Panthers fan, I want to say us, but I can't. I got to be objective. I got to say the Cowboys. I mean, the injuries against the Texans with, you know, J.C. Horn and Christian McCaffrey going out. You know, McCaffrey is a big part of our offense. He's been for years. And he's out with a hamstring, and then J.C. Horn, he's out indefinitely, hurt something, I think, in his knee or his foot. And so I really want to pick us, but I just can't because I know what the Cowboys can do on offense with CeeDee Lamb, with Amari Cooper, with Zeke. So I think that we can hang close with them, but ultimately, Cowboys, they're going to be at home. I got the Cowboys.
Yeah, I have to go with Dallas too, even though I don't like the Cowboys. But I gotta go with Dallas because the Panthers, like you said, they have some key injuries. Christian McCaffrey, we don't know about him. You know, he has his hamstring issue, and of course J.C. Horn, who broke his foot last week. And this Dallas team, that defense is starting to play a little bit better. They're gaining confidence. You know, they picked off Jalen Hurts. I think it was 1 or 2 times he threw 2. And, I mean, the team is getting a lot of confidence, and offensively they have the weapons, and they finally have their guy Dak back. And I think they're going to want it to back being at Arlington Stadium AT&T Stadium to let the Panthers hang around. So I think the Cowboys will beat them by at least 2 touchdowns.
Stadium is in Arlington. So
I was just going to say, you're good, Nick.
I know, but I'm just saying, I was like, Arlington Stadium, that doesn't sound right. AT&T Stadium.
Well, were you thinking of like Arlington Heights, that the Chicago Bears?
That might have been it because I was looking at that earlier. That might actually been it.
There you go. I'm also going to go with the Cowboys. I forgot that Christian McCaffrey and J.C. Horn are both hurt, so I'm going to go with the Cowboys. All right, moving on. We're moving on to a matchup of undefeated teams. We've got the Rams and the Cardinals. Guys, who do you have for this one?
Rams. Oh, my goodness. The Rams. Not taking anything away from Arizona because Arizona has been very impressive in what Kyler Murray is doing. He's on an MVP-type pace. But those Rams, the offense is super explosive, and they have a defense as well. Like they're probably my favorite to win it all right now. Like I picked them over Tampa Bay. This team clearly has the potential to come out and dominate a football game and take it over completely. And you can see the joy that Sean McVay has having Matthew Stafford as his quarterback now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I feel bad for Jared Goff, but you just see the joy and you see the things that they're able to do. Like it's just so much. It's so many weapons. Deshaun Jackson, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. Like these guys are dangerous. You know, these guys can get open at any point during the game. So I gotta go with the LA Rams.
Just like Baker Mayfield, they woke up feeling dangerous. I picked the Rams last week, and I'm going to pick them again, but this time in a tighter game against the Cardinals. You see, I can't believe that the Rams look this good. I would have said that they were my most surprising 3-0 team, but I did think they were going to be good enough to make the playoffs and, you know, maybe win 10 games, but they really look like they're contenders in the NFC. Who would have thought that Stafford moving locations and getting in a new offense with new terminology and new faces, that he would look so good? Him and Cooper Kupp have an unstoppable connection. Listen to this. Cooper Kupp leads the NFL in yards, receptions, touchdowns, and yards per game. And nobody was predicting that in the summer. So I got the Rams. I do think it will be closer because the Cardinals can pressure the quarterback with Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, and they got Kyler Murray, so they will be able to put up some points. But I got the Rams.
I've got the Rams as well. I think they're Super Bowl favorites now for a reason. I think they look so dominant now with Matthew Stafford, and I think they're going to beat the Cardinals. So, all right, we're going to move on. We're going to do the Ravens at the Broncos. Who do you have for this?
I got the Ravens. I think that the Broncos, like I said, they have been pretty impressive. Their defense is really good, but, you know, like I said before, you see a pattern. They've played bad quarterbacks, and they've played bad offensive lines, so that has helped boost their stats a little bit and given them some easy victories. So I do think that even though they're going to be in Mile High, I think that Lamar Jackson, with his legs, will do enough to beat them, and I got the Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. I hate doing that, being a Steelers fan. I don't want to pick the Ravens, but I have to, yeah. Like you said, that team's dangerous. The Ravens can run the ball like no other team in the NFL. Like, the scheme that they run with Lamar Jackson, it just fits so perfect, you know, like it's a perfect match. But I think that if Denver really wants to prove to everybody that they're a for real team and they can compete in the AFC this year, they need to beat a team like the Ravens. They have to show that they can stop Lamar Jackson in that rushing attack. So right now I'm going to go with the Ravens, but I really want the Broncos to win. But yeah, I'm going with the Ravens.
It really goes to show that Lamar Jackson really leads that team because, I mean, they've had running back after running back go out, and they're still one of the top the top rushing offenses every single year. So, I mean, just give credit to Lamar and also his leadership. I mean,
they have 100 rushing yards at the end of the first half already. Like, they just run the ball. Like, it is just like, it's hard to stop. It's very hard to stop.
It is very hard to stop, which is also why I'm picking the Ravens. Sorry, Dad. Broncos fan over here. I can't pick you. All right. We're going to go now to Tom Brady's homecoming. The Bucs at the Patriots. Who do you guys have?
I got to go with Tampa Bay. It's no way that Tom Brady is going back to Foxborough to face his old coach to lose this game. No, I got to go with Tampa Bay because really Tampa Bay is the more dominant team, and that's kind of been overlooked simply because it's Tom Brady's first time going back to Foxborough since, you know, he left for Tampa. But Tampa Bay is the better team. They should win this game easily. Like, not easily, but they should win this game. Like, it shouldn't be as close as some people probably anticipate. It probably will be, though. But they're clearly the better team. Tom Brady is going to come in locked in. He knows that. He knows the scheme. He knows the team. Like, he knows it's like easily. So I think that it'll easily be Tampa Bay coming out to win this game.
You were leaning into it. I'm going to go all the way. Bucks big. I think that, you know, it being his revenge game, I think he's going to take this very seriously. Some may say he even overlooked the Rams a little bit because he was looking forward to this game so much. And I think that he might be a little bit jittery at first, being back in Foxborough for the first time with a lot of those New England fans. Deep down, they know that they're really Brady fans and they really want to see him again. So I think he may be jittery a little bit at first, but I got the Bucs pulling away by the end. I mean, Mac Jones, I thought he was showing improvement. And then he goes through and throws 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
One of those not really being on him, but still, I thought that they would beat the Saints, and they didn't. I just really think that Mac Jones will have a tough time against the Bucs defense with, their ability to blitz and put pressure on the quarterback. I got the Bucs huge.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I think Jones is a rookie, so he's probably going to be inconsistent. I think he'll have a better game, but I'm going with the Bucs. All right, last game. Tell me who you have. No analysis. Just tell me who you have. Monday Night Football. We've got the Raiders at the Chargers. Who do you guys have?
Chargers. I can't give any analysis. None.
It
I
needs
mean,
to be said.
No. I said it. I'm going to go with the Raiders. Sorry. Not sorry.
No analysis.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And until next week, good night.